The Bayon is a well-known and richly decorated Khmer temple at Angkor in Cambodia. Built in the late 12th or early 13th century as the official state temple of the Mahayana Buddhist king Jayavarman VII, the Bayon stands at the center of Jayavarman's capital, Angkor Thom. Following Jayavarman's death, it was modified and augmented by later Hindu and Theravada Buddhist kings in accordance with their own religious preferences. The Bayon's most distinctive feature is the multitude of serene and smiling stone faces on the many towers which jut out from the upper terrace and cluster around its central peak. The temple is known for two impressive sets of bas-reliefs, which present an unusual combination of mythological, historical, and mundane scenes. The current main conservatory body, the Japanese government team for the safeguarding of Angkor, has described the temple as the most striking expression of the Baroque style of Khmer architecture, as contrasted with the classical style of Angkor Wat. The Bayon was the last state temple to be built at Angkor, and the only Angkorian state temple to be built primarily as a Mahayana Buddhist shrine dedicated to the Buddha, though a great number of minor and local deities were also encompassed as representatives of the various districts and cities of the realm. It was the centerpiece of Jayavarman VII's massive program of monumental construction and public works, which was also responsible for the walls and Naga bridges of Angkor Thom and the temples of Preah Khan, Ta Prohm, and Banteay Kadai. The temple is oriented towards the east, and so its buildings are set back to the west inside enclosures elongated along the east-west axis. Because the temple sits at the exact center of Angkor Thom, roads lead to it directly from the gates of each of the city's cardinal points. The temple itself has no walk or moats, these being replaced by those of the city itself. The city temple arrangement, with an area of 9 square kilometers, is much larger than that of Angkor Wat to the south. Within the temple itself, there are 2 galleried enclosures, the third and second enclosures, and an upper terrace, the first enclosure. All of these elements are crowded against each other with little space between. Unlike Angkor Wat, which impresses with the grand scale of its architecture and open spaces, the Bayon gives the impression of being compressed within a frame which is too tight for it. The outer wall of the outer gallery features a series of bas-reliefs, depicting historical events and scenes from the everyday life of the Angkorian Khmer. Though highly detailed and informative in themselves, the bas-reliefs are not accompanied by any sort of epigraphic text, and for that reason, considerable uncertainty remains as to which historical events are portrayed and how, if at all, the different reliefs are related. The inner gallery is raised above ground level and has doubled corners, with the original reed-dented cross shape later filled out to a square. Its bas-reliefs, later editions of Jayavarman VIII, are in stark contrast to those of the outer. Rather than set-piece battles and processions, the smaller canvases offered by the inner gallery are decorated for the most part with scenes from Hindu mythology. Some of the figures depicted are Siva, Vishnu, and Brahma, the members of the Trimurti, or threefold godhead of Hinduism, Asparis, or celestial dancers, Ravana and Garuda. There is, however, no certainty as to what some of the panels depict, or as to their relationship with one another. The inner gallery is nearly filled by the upper terrace, raised 1 level higher again. The lack of space between the inner gallery and the upper terrace has led scholars to conclude that the upper terrace did not figure in the original plan for the temple, but that it was added shortly thereafter following a change in design. Originally, it is believed, the Bayon had been designed as a single-level structure, similar in that respect to the roughly contemporaneous foundations of Ta Prohm and Banteay Kadai. Like the inner gallery, the central tower was originally cruciform, but was later filled out and made circular. It rises 43 meters above the ground. At the time of the temple's foundation, the principal religious image was a statue of the Buddha, 3.6 meters tall, located in the sanctuary at the heart of the central tower. The statue depicted the Buddha seated in meditation, shielded from the elements by the flared hood of the Serpent King, Mukhalinda. During the reign of Hindu restorationist monarch Jayavarman VIII, the figure was removed from the sanctuary and smashed to pieces. After being recovered in 1933 from the bottom of a well, it was pieced back together and is now on display in a small pavilion at Angkor.